Ever wondered what really separates solid content from truly industry-leading work? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. We're going to dive into a real-world strategic audit to pull out a blueprint that you can use to take your own content from just good to genuinely great. All right, let's kick things off with a question that probably hits pretty close to home for a lot of you out there. You feel like your content is good, right? You're putting in the work, but the growth is just kind of flatlined. Does that sound familiar? If it does, then stick around, because this explainer is definitely for you. So, to really get a handle on how to make that leap, we're going to dissect a real-life content strategy. The case study we're looking at is built around this idea called green wealth. And by digging into what works and where the opportunities are, we're going to pull out some universal principles that you can apply to pretty much anything you're creating.
You know, every great strategy has to be built on a solid foundation. So first things first, let's look at what was already working here. What were those core elements that made this content good to begin with?
Okay, so it all starts with this core idea, green wealth. Now, this isn't just about cash in the bank. Nope, it's about combining wealth with a sense of purpose, with sustainability, with emotional alignment. Just that one concept right there, it's super memorable and it immediately carves out its own unique space in a very crowded world.
And that unique positioning, it's powerful because it's so rare. I mean, the audit itself points this out. Very few creators are positioning wealth this way. And think about it, when you're saying something that almost nobody else is, you don't just have content anymore, you have a voice.
All right, the next piece of this strong foundation is having a proprietary framework. In this case, it's called REVITALEX. And let me tell you, a good framework is a total game changer. It takes all those big, abstract ideas and turns them into a tangible, teachable system. And that's how you build some real authority.
So, what makes a framework like REVITALEX actually work so well? Well, it connects those big ideas with practical steps, bridging the emotional journey with tactical career advice. It's memorable, it's versatile, and this is the big one, it becomes your signature intellectual property. It's that one thing that only you can offer.
Okay, so we've got this strong foundation. It's good, but the path from good to great, that's all about finding the hidden gaps. And I want you to think of these not as weaknesses, but as amazing, untapped opportunities. Let's dig in and see what they are.
And here's a big one, maybe the most common growth gap I see. It's when you're only speaking to your existing warm audience. You know, the people who already get you. For them, talking about inner work and purpose is brilliant. But for newcomers, for that cold audience, you need totally different entry points. You need surprising insights, maybe some contrarian opinions, strong hooks that grab them even if they have zero context.
And check out the difference a tiny shift in language can make. The call to action went from a very functional, join the session, to something way more emotional. Join if you feel stuck despite doing everything right. See that? That second one speaks directly to a specific pain point. It makes the invitation basically irresistible to the exact person you want to attract.
Here's another huge opportunity for growth, shifting from just being a helpful facilitator to becoming a recognized expert. This is a big deal. It means you got to go beyond just asking good questions and start sharing your own concrete insights, your unique observations. It's about developing real thought leadership and truly owning your expertise.
So, we've laid out the foundation, we've pointed out the gaps, now we get to the really exciting part. This is where we put it all together to make that strategic leap from just being good to being truly great. And this is the moment where a clear vision completely transforms everything.
When you kind of zoom out and look at all the content together, you start to see a larger philosophy emerge. See, it's not just a random collection of posts anymore. It's a journey. It's a clear path that takes your audience from success to alignment, then to impact, and ultimately to legacy. That becomes your brand story.
So you've got the core concept, you know the audience, you've mapped out the philosophy, and all of it, every single piece, points toward one big, clarifying, strategic insight.
And here it is. This is the single big insight. You're not just a guide for wealth. No, you are a guide for mid-career professionals seeking meaningful wealth. See how specific that is? That laser focus is the absolute key. It ties together career transitions, resilience, leadership, all into one powerful and seriously underserved niche. That is what separates the good from the great.
Okay, so you've got this incredibly powerful insight. Awesome. Now what? How do you actually turn that into an engine for growth? Well, there's one really clear strategic step you can take to make it all happen. You launch what's called a signature series.
You could call it something like mid-career truths or green wealth lessons. So why does this work so well? 3 reasons. 1, it consistently shows off your authority in that specific niche. 2, it creates a predictable rhythm, a consistency that your audience can count on. And 3, and this is probably the most important, that consistency is exactly how you earn deep, lasting trust with your audience.
And there you have it. That's the blueprint. You start with a really strong, unique core idea. Then you find the gaps in how you're talking to your audience and how you're showing up as an expert. You crystallize all of that into one single strategic insight, and then you bring it to life with a signature series.
So that really just brings us to the final question, and this one's for you. When you look at your own content, your own expertise, and your audience, what's the signature series that only you can create? What's that one thing your audience is secretly waiting for you to make?